potato for this. All right, hello, welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
Hello, my wonderful, beautiful Mackie Poo. How are you? Happy Friday.
I'm good. How are you this Friday?
It's been a weird week. I'm excited to hear and respond and play Mac, the devil's advocate. I'm going to try to do my best. I am. And yeah, these are some heavy things that are going on right now. We're in the middle of a lot of big history stories.
We really are. And
yeah,
it was hard to pick on like what to focus on this week. It really was.
Because whatever it is, it's going to be a lot of, like, you're going to have to put a lot of work into it too, because they're just big stories.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to do like follow up on any and all of this.
Yay!
Because it's too much, and I didn't narrow my view quick enough for any of this.
It's almost better to do it like that. It's still going on.
Yeah. Well, first things first. This is I paused the stream. Yeah. Okay, there. Now we should.
Like, it's too much. Pause.
It's fine. Get out of here. Okay. First things first. This is the 19th anniversary of September 11th. So I wanted to make sure that we acknowledged that in the very least. I know at the beginning of the year, like, we had planned on like doing a big thing for this, because like I remember that like we looked at the calendar and like, oh hey, it's on a Friday. And then yesterday came and I was like, oh shit, yeah, tomorrow's that day.
Yes.
And yeah, so there's like nothing prepared.
Yeah, I was unprepared. Stacy and I were at the pool with Mr. Bean, and she said, oh man, we're gonna have to have like a moment of silence here in a moment. It's 9/11, and in a couple minutes the first plane is gonna hit. And like, I'm just like, wait, oh yeah, it's just, it will never ever be a good feeling.
Yeah.
Talking about that.
Wasn't it at 8:46? That's yeah.
It was, yeah. The first one was early, and after the businesses had opened, and yeah, people were in their buildings, and yes.
And it wasn't it a Tuesday? Right?
I don't remember the day. Actually, I remember I was a stay-at-home mom with a nursing child, and I just couldn't hold her tight enough. It was very disturbing.
Yeah. Yep, it was a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. What was the exact time? 9/11. It was 8:46. And then the flight 175 crashed into the South Tower at 9:03. So, yeah.
And then everything was grounded.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a day where, even though I was in my own home holding my child safe, it felt like we're in a new everything, if that could happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was like that for many people, and definitely for the people that were physically involved or lost loved ones.
Just kind of going, like, skimming through Google here. There's questions you can click on, and one was, how did the 9/11 hijackers get through security? And it said, despite being scanned with a handheld detector the hijackers were passed through. Security camera footage later showed some hijackers had what appeared to be box cutters clipped to their back pockets. Box cutters and similar small knives were allowed on board certain aircraft at the time. So, and I do remember hearing that, like, they were armed with like razor blades.
They were. And after that, everybody had to take their shoes off and make sure that nothing was in their socks or their shoes at the airport. Yeah. I think another bombing as well. The Oklahoma bombing had made rules and regulations change as well. Why wouldn't it? You know, because we lived in our American bubble where we were just that I'm not worried about anybody getting on the plane. We're fine. And that's, I think we were naive and narcissistic. Yeah.
Do you remember where you were?
Yep. I was in my living room. Yeah, I was in my living room holding Isabel, and schools all canceled. You had to go get your kid and bring them home. There's no school. There's no school the next day.
Did you not live in Florida at the time? Did you
I
still
lived
live
in Florida.
You did?
Yeah,
okay.
I lived in when that happened in Brandon, which is out of Tampa City proper, but it's still in Hillsborough County. It's just like on the outside of Tampa. And Tampa has MacDill Air Force Base, international communications. And if you live in Tampa, you see officers from Poland and Germany and Africa, Air Force, everything, because that's where that is. And it's also, if they were able to damage it, communications would be really hard for a minute or longer. Yeah, it's living near MacDill and knowing how important it is to the communication and intelligence is a little unnerving. Stacy and I, when we first got together, we lived so close to MacDill that we had an air show every day, just because they practice, and we'd also make sure that we flashed them from the pool because they're serving our country and we want to say thank you. And then we noticed the helicopters started getting lower. Yeah, I was like, thank you for your service. Yeah,
I'm sure they appreciated
as
it.
American as apple pie.
Yeah.
Boobies. Yeah.
I wish I was that cool. Anyways.
You're so silly. You are cool.
I remember that I was at home and I was homeschooled at the time. And it was my second day of school.
We should talk about that someday.
Maybe we will.
Yeah.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was my second day of school.
Oh wow.
For that year, because we didn't start before Labor Day because my mom didn't like the idea of starting and then taking a break right away, so she just had us wait so we could start a full week of school.
Wow.
So
yeah, I mean, at where my family's from, Quad Cities, that public schools go all year, but they 3 months, they take a month off or 2 months off in 3 months, and so you're on and off all year, and it's not too much. It's not like everything and then nothing and then everything and then nothing. I like it. And they teach English and Spanish in kindergarten.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, the many schools in that area. I mean, Iowa's always been known for being really good at education in our country, and the Quad Cities as 2 cities in Iowa and 2 cities in Illinois. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep, it's very, very American. They have parades and fireworks over the Mississippi River every 4th of July.
Look that up real quick.
Oh, Mac. Got it? No.
Give me a sec.
I won't. Now what? I'm not giving any sex to anyone. Doorknob had got his baked potato and some macaroni and cheese. Apparently you're the mac and I'm the cheese because I'm cheesy.
You're cheesy?
Me?
You?
No.
Okay.
I'm cool all the time.
I forget what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But
Thanks
I think
for sharing your stories in the chat real quick for people remembering where they were. That's yeah, you were so young in high school. That's would have been very confusing for me.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah. Thank you for that. The Sharon is Karen. Max thinking.
I was
Thinking face.
I was also like trying to read and catch up down there. No, well, so from what I've heard, and I need to confirm it, 20 years, and I forget like what the legislation is or whatever, but after 20 years, like sealed documents can be like unsealed and given to the public. Yeah. What's that
They'll
called?
fight you sometimes, and it will take many years.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Freedom of Information Act. Yes.
Is it just through that?
That's that's your best bet because
Okay.
it is an actual part of our, system, but they can still find ways to say no or have so much of it redacted that like the first word and the end. It takes, I'm exaggerating obviously, but it was set up so that we, the people, run the country. So yes, secrets need to stay, especially when other countries want to, you want to, I don't agree with all of it, but I do understand why we would need intelligence. I am not naive.
Yeah.
However, the purpose was transparency. It makes me laugh because
It's funny.
they lie. They lie.
So hopefully next year we'll have a little more to talk about.
If you have an informed electorate, you're going to have a more happy country where people are, talking to each other and, what do we want for our country, for our kids, and they're in unison together. And that's not what's going on.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
barbarians.
So, yeah, I don't really have a lot to share on this. I know that the families of the victims who passed on 9/11 were invited out, as they are every year, to Ground Zero. But they encouraged the social distancing and the mask wearing that we have to all participate in right now. And
there were a lot of volunteers too, not just firemen and policemen, and those humans all got sick too, and they've been denied and denied and denied. There are still today people who are living disabled and on breathing tubes and cannot get any help because they chose to go there. Like, you did that to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I disagree. I think that I mean, they ran towards the danger and didn't sleep for 3 days and tried to find as many people still alive as possible. That's brave, and that's what I think humanity is. I think we could be disagreeing about all the ideas, and if something happened, that just stops and everybody starts helping each other, because that's, we have to be like coerced into being divided. We need to have constant things dividing us, and keeping our minds occupied so that we don't go, wait, why don't I like them? What why do I pledge my whole life to a flag? Why am I pledging allegiance to a flag as a child? Like, every single day. I never asked that, ever. I didn't know that other countries didn't do that. So we're our own special soup of, I don't know, but
Nationalism.
it has it has a slight fashy flavor.
No, yeah. Just the splash of fash. No, so yeah, not to point it out, our man behind the scenes, he pointed out that Jon Stewart
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, I watched the whole
pretty
thing.
much
Yeah.
the only person who has consistently been
Yes.
fighting for the first responders.
He
Did he
just
do something?
couldn't believe. I mean, he watched all this happen, and what's the purpose of a government? And a government that starts with we, the people, and this government's of, by, and for. Well, these people need your help. And the government was like, well, they're not our responsibility. They didn't work for us. They're your citizens. Yeah, he just didn't get it. And many of them died. Or did you watch it? Many of them, you watch them just deteriorate and not have any help, and it was just infuriating. And so he used his, you know celebrity and his mind and his privilege, and just like a dog with a bone, he got everyone. However, that's not true, because they have to like send in for help. We fill out everything and get approved, and they will always disapprove if they can. I mean, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's very unfortunate. Yes. I think though it's not as bad right now. Like, the people who absolutely needed help or they're gonna die without it, have passed or have gotten help, and that doesn't mean that that's a blanket and everybody got help. Michael Moore took a whole bunch of first responders that weren't city workers or government workers. They were just New Yorkers, first responders to Cuba. And the people were crying because they don't care. They need to know, what's your name? Okay, why are you here? Well, let's check everything. We got to figure out what's wrong with you. You don't pay anything. They're there to help and fix. And one mom had to buy the inhalers, and she would have to choose, do I want to have an extra meal this week or buy my inhaler? And then her kid needed an inhaler too, and there were 160 each. They were like 15 or 50 cents each there. So the doctors couldn't believe it. So they set her up with a suitcase. Like, they just said, but you need it. I don't understand why they wouldn't give it to you. This is how much they make. This is how much, when a government is able to debate and challenge and rebuttal offers. You know, they can tell a pharmacy, a big farm company, no, then you won't get our business, and they're not going to say no to an entire country's business. So you can
Right.
negotiate, you know, and yeah, it's eye-opening watching stuff like that, and then making sure that it's true. You know, going and it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think 9/11 and the wrong that was done before, that's why it happened, and the wrong that was done to the people that needed it is going to leave a scar for a long time still.
Yeah.
Your next story though, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to say real quick before we do move on that they did have the families out to ground zero, but due to the pandemic, um, and I mean, I feel like they could have done it differently, and I'm not sure how much it ultimately matters, but for respect and people's feelings who are there, who really gave some kind of ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
It means something to them. But there's always a reading of the names of the people lost,
Mhm.
and they did that through a recording from a previous year this time. So that made a lot of people upset, and I can understand why. So, yep, that was something I thought was newsworthy to tell. I actually heard that one on the radio this morning. So, anyways, all right, I'm ready for the
Yeah,
next one.
everywhere all day today talked about, as it will for a long, very long time,
Yeah.
as it should. Should never let that happen again. And we shouldn't be best friends with the people that's hit. But yeah, I'll just take a sip of tea like Kermit.
Nice.
Just move along. Yeah, it's frustrating. Oh, are you excited?
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, definitely. Are
All
you
right.
excited? I'm excited.
The Assange thing.
Yes, like this is going to change everything for the better or for the worse. It's going to have ripple effects. He's
It
not
is.
American. Like, how can a country just demand someone else? I'm so perplexed.
Okay, hold on. Let me give everyone like
Yeah. That's why I'm so excited.
real quick. Okay, all right. So Julian Assange, his trial has started in the UK, and you would think that it's like the US against Assange, because it's over the extradition of Julian Assange to the US, because of the crimes he's committed
Which should never
there,
happen.
with of which he wasn't even here when he committed the crimes, correct?
Right. He's never
Right.
been here as far as I know. He's never been here.
No. So I was thinking about naming this one Assange farce, because I've heard that word thrown around with this case quite a bit, and I wanted to give the definition. Farce is a comic,
I like that. Yeah.
dramatic, a comic dramatic work using buffoonery and horseplay, and typically including crude characterization of ludicrousy and probable situations. So it really does kind of fit how these trials are going, because of the legal gymnastics that the prosecutor.
Because they're making this stuff up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So
it is exactly mental flips, legal mental flips.
yeah. So what we have here to remind you, if you don't know, Julian Assange, I'm blanking. What is it's the stuff he helped Chelsea Manning.
Yeah, he publishes war crimes and criminals, the information on a website. He's a publisher, and it has
WikiLeaks.
actually helped the world understand, like, here's the proof.
What are those papers called? What were those files? Do you remember?
That's what. Okay, no, but I can just look up Chelsea Manning's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you're doing that,
it's bad name, and it shows, soldiers.
It shows what?
Like video gaming lives away. Just
Yeah. I remember seeing the video footage. I don't remember what those files are called.
Yeah, I just have
Chelsea
to look at it
Manning.
too. But I think that's good. I want to know what is going on.
Yeah.
We can't address it if we don't know about it.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what the name of it is. What it was is that Chelsea Manning leaked classified information to WikiLeaks and Julian Assange.
Many people did. Yeah.
Many
all
people
the time.
did.
All the time.
And
it just hurt America's butt.
That is illegal. It is illegal to leak that information. What is also illegal?
Not all of it. Some of it.
Some of
actually.
it.
Yeah, some of it, because there were secret, like, people planted, and their identity was blown. Like, that is, and it should be. That should not be okay. But it was a whole, like, they went in and downloaded all of it, and so all of it came. And whoever published it didn't do the responsible thing and redact some names. Right.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm glad the video was in there.
Yeah. What was leaked included video evidence of U.S. war crimes, of just slaughtering civilians,
journalists, families, civilians.
There's a term that they use in there.
Is it murder?
Double tap.
Oh yeah.
Where they also kill the first responders.
Yes, that's the whole point. Is to just be cruel.
Yeah, it's just target practice on real targets.
What disturbed me, of course, was seeing that, but I couldn't get over how these young, they're young. Some of them have been in the military for 2 or 3 years, or longer. There were longer, but they're just young men, just starting out in life, and they were playing a video game. Like, ooh, let's wait and see if they come out. I'm gonna get that motherfucker too, and just giggling. You saw that? Yeah, I saw that. Good job. Just like, if you dehumanize war. Like, war should be the last result, because no one wants to be that bloody and die. But we don't have to be. We don't even have to look them in the eye.
Right. It's one reason why I don't like guns. So bouncing back a little bit still, in April of 2019, he was arrested from the Ecuadorian embassy in London. He had been in there for a number of years. I can't remember how many. It was multiple.
7 or 8. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 or 7, but so we'll go with 7, because that's our middle ground. So it is officially 7. He was arrested then, and now, as this trial has started. He is facing 175 years in prison because that makes sense in any case whatsoever. We've already talked about this. And
what about the people who killed the people? Like,
yeah, there's been no charges brought to the war criminals
not
at
one.
all. None.
Nope.
And there were 18 new charges he was arrested for on Monday.
Yeah. Throwing spaghetti at the wall.
When his trial started, he was arrested on 18 new charges, which were all espionage and hacking related charges, as far as I could see. It is also being thrown out there that he is not a journalist, right? He has a
publisher.
website.
He's a publisher. He is a publisher.
He's a
He
publisher.
doesn't do the research. He is an advocate for everyone knowing what the governments are up to. And there's only one empire on this planet right now. And there's no such thing as a moral empire. So someone has to watch. And I think that he was very brave, because I would know before I did anything like that I would probably disappear. Right. But he said, but what's right? Do people need to know? And he's given up everything for it.
Yeah. Yes. And he has kids. I mean, he has family.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't matter to some people, because what he did is illegal, except it's not illegal to publish.
It's not. No, it is not illegal to publish.
It's not illegal.
It's never been, or every newspaper would be charged with something.
Right, but right now, the Trump administration is currently trying to pass some kind of laws, some legislation, get it through.
And you know that all the Democrats would sign that, right? You know that would go through, because it makes the empire look bad.
It protects them as well. So this really is some scary stuff.
It's very, very scary. We're at a fork in the road, my friend.
We're at a what?
We're at a fork in the road, my friend. I said.
We are.
We America was added to the top 10 list this year for most dangerous places to be a journalist.
Yeah, I remember that story.
It just makes my stomach drop.
And
you can't have free speech, and you can't have a good media, or I just want to know what the truth is, whether it's good, bad, or I like it or I don't like it. I just want to know what actually we know about it. And that is very scary for a cabal, for a mob, for a country that has authoritarian leaning ideas, and doesn't think it's their responsibility to take care of their people. But that's the only reason to have a government, is to protect the people. Yeah.
So,
Brantley, we're not at one. In COVID, we are. I think.
I don't know. I think India might be.
Yeah, I did see that actually. Yeah. They have billion people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So. A few more things before we move on from the Assange story. James Lewis, the prosecutor, stated to a witness that Julian Assange was facing extradition for the publication of U.S. informants. Not necessarily for...
Yeah, because they had to hurry up and get to them and move them. That's what it was for.
Right. So...
Yeah, I read it.
So Assange yelled nonsense, at which he was threatened by the judge to be removed from the courtroom if he had an outburst again.
They're terrified of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
And
they
I
could just
mean,
make
I
him
think,
go away and be the bad guy, then they can be the good guy again.
yeah, this is that struck me. That struck me different ways. Because one, I'm like, okay, I get how you're supposed to act ruly in a courtroom, but
Yeah,
also,
but he's
which judge
psychologically damaged right now.
exactly? That's the other side of the coin. This man has been tortured by definition. He's been
The
tortured
UN rapporteur said that he is, like he's just checking off the,
every
the
single
things
box.
that would show that you, yeah, that
Had
you are,
long-term exposure to torture methods. Yeah, and
uh,
so he
yeah,
had an outburst by someone pulling some bullshit in the courtroom.
he's scared that he's gonna get poisoned every day.
Yeah.
I just, yeah, it's a crazy time right now. But I think everyone should pay attention to this because if the U.S. is able to extradite him, if they, uh, it that would be the end of what little bit of, a lot of good dreams we had for. I like a lot of different people in our country. I like a lot of different ideas in our country. I like that about it. I don't want the people mandated to think or be a way anyway. And journalism should be about finding out the truth. And even though he's not a journalist, it doesn't matter. He's a publisher and he publishes dirt about governments once he knows that it's real because it's an important job. It's actually, it's too brave. I would never, I would be terrified. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I could even agree that he or whoever put it together made sure that if they understood that these people were inside already and had secret identities all over, if that's true, demonstrably true, and they published that, that's not nice at all. It's not nice, and they wouldn't have died a easy or fast death. They would have been, like, oh my gosh, you're the enemy working here. So, but that's not what it really is. It's not. It's that the Geneva Convention that the good old U.S. helped write these beautiful laws. The never hashtag never again. I never ever want to see a Holocaust again. I never ever want to see a genocide again. But unfortunately, there's genocides going on right now. And
Yeah.
if he gets locked up for this, mm, I don't know how journalism in our country could come back. It would have to just all be independent because nobody is going to trust anything.
They wouldn't be able to trust anything because
Right, or the
it would
cops or
effectively.
anybody because you just locked up someone. Imagine going to a neighbor's house and knocking on the door and demanding their grown child, but I'm gonna have to take him with. He did something in my yard. I'm gonna take him for a few years and torture him. Like, I know it's not the same, but he's not American. We have we have nothing on him. Like, we can't do that. I don't know. And the Geneva Convention mentioned all of these war crimes that were never again going to be allowed on the planet we wanted to live on. And then we kind of, I don't know, we do them. And then we let Saudi Arabia be on the Human Rights Board. Are you fucking kidding me? With us and Israel? Ha! Like, is it a joke? I think they're just fucking with us because that's not. I think that we're in a very 1984 time a lot too. Up is down, black is white, wrong is good, right is bad, and I know that's not. There's actually a lot of amazing people doing amazing things for him. We saw Medea Benjamin and the letter that they all wrote about
I
him.
saw it earlier this week. I can't remember.
Yes. And like, you cannot send him to America. He might not even land in America. Right.
I don't know, because part of me says that like they really want to talk to him. So
You think?
I think
They've been able to talk to him. They have been able to talk to him in many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced they would just kill him.
No. No, but he could just disappear. He's not a problem anymore.
Right.
And fell out in the ocean. He wanted to go for a swim. No, I do think that he would be put in a place like why can't I think of the name? In Cuba.
Guantanamo.
There you go. He will be. That's where he's been in the UK, and they're like where the terrorists go, and they're doing it on purpose. I think he's scared for his life every day. That's everybody that visits him says that. Yeah, you have to sleep with one eye open in there. On purpose, they did that because espionage. Just
yeah. So
the irony.
I was gonna say that if they do this to Julian, and the U.S. Goes to prosecute him, it makes what he did illegal, even though he's not a U.S. citizen. One, that sets a dangerous precedent for the rest of the reporters all over the planet who report on America, because America will be after you, and even if it's not in their jurisdiction. But for who is in their jurisdiction, like the Washington Post or anything like that, it would for a fact effectively, if they pass the kind of laws that they want to prosecute Julian Assange, it would effectively make reporting on national security illegal unless it was approved by the government or national security.
Oh, like propaganda?
Right. So
yeah, I don't want that either.
As Christy was saying, you couldn't trust any reporting coming from the government, because it's just whatever they say goes, and whatever they don't say does not go. Right? So you really literally couldn't.
CNN being funded by like weapons manufacturers and corporations doesn't mean that they're actually telling you horrible lies. Actually, it just means that they're not going to tell you the things that make those places look bad, because that's who funds them, and they're making war. And then you're watching news that does give you true news, but it's not going to ever be critical about the things that actually need to be changed.
Right, because you aren't allowed to be critical. So when you get the source putting out information on the source, and it's stamped and approved by the source, it's a tautology. Right? So you can't, it's not reliable if it's not up for scrutiny. Right. So there's something else I wanted to share before we move on, and I do want to move on soon. I don't want to go over everything. Over the last like 4 days of the trial, I know that day 4, they basically canceled it. They said that they're waiting a COVID-19 test result from a lawyer who appeared in the courtroom on Wednesday. So they decided to adjourn until they knew whether or not the test was positive. So day 4, nothing happened. They went in and they stopped it because everyone in the courtroom could be at risk. And finally, our client, whose vulnerabilities you are aware of, would be at risk. Julian Assange's lawyer said to Vanessa Berringer, the judge. So that's not the thing I was about to read, actually. I wanted to just get that one out of the way before I said the more shocking one. So day 2, this was known on day 2. Proceedings had started with a statement from Edward Fitzgerald, Assange's QC, that took us rudely into life. This is from Axios of Logic. It has some transcripts in here. He stated that yesterday, on the first day of trial, Julian had twice been stripped, naked and searched, 11 times been handcuffed, and 5 times been locked up in different holding cells. On top of this, all of his court documents had been taken from him by the prison authorities, including privileged communications between his lawyers and himself. And he had been left with no ability to prepare to participate in today's proceedings. Not a fair trial.
That's exactly how authoritarian governments handle problems like this. Exactly.
And this is
habeas corpus. You know, you have the rights we allow you to have.
Yeah. Let me look at this.
I'll let you look at it.
Habeas corpus.
Give it a ponder.
Habeas corpus. A writ requiring a person under arrest to be brought before a judge or into court, especially to secure the person's release unless lawful grounds are shown for their detention. I can't remember when habeas corpus when was it put in place? Habeas Corpus Act of 1679. We have all, I want to say all but repealed habeas corpus at this point, effectively.
It was taken completely off the books if it was terrorism. Yeah.
So if you say something,
it's terrorism, he doesn't have any rights.
Right. So this also,
or espionage.
Yeah, or espionage. Yeah. So let me remind everyone that goes for the protesters as well. If an arresting officer or someone who is against one of the protesters says that this person is with Antifa, right, all of a sudden they have to be treated like a terrorist, because the Trump administration said that that Antifa is a terrorist organization, even though it is not an organization.
No.
But if you stamp Antifa on a protester, they now lose habeas corpus. And since they say that Julian Assange is being is charged with
I know what you're talking about.
But I don't want to say the word espionage. That means he loses his right to habeas corpus. So basically, if the U.S. does get him, they can say we don't have to try him because of the laws that we made to make sure we don't have to try him. I mean,
it's fucking disgusting.
Because he's a terrorist.
Yes, it's fucking disgusting.
Right.
This is what happened to Debs, the socialist who just was, bringing in huge crowds because the depression was going on, and they said, "Oh fuck no, no." They charged him for espionage because during a speech he had said, while running for president or before running, something. I think he was just soapbox speaking. He said, "Why would you want to go fight their war? Why? Why would you want to do that? Because the last one that all our parents fought in, it was for the corporations, the fruit companies. Like, we know now, like, why they're not going to fight. And so I support anyone that tears their, because they get drafted apart. And that was espionage. And he went to jail.
Yeah, bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then they told everybody that communism is authoritarianism and a whole bunch of other stuff, and then changed education so that you'll learn what we say stuff is. Like libertarianism is right. It's really not in any other place in the world except for here. I don't.
Yep. And it's again. I want to just recap. He's been tortured. The U.S. is trying to get him to try him here, and he's not a U.S. citizen, nor did he commit the crimes in the U.S. And they're not crimes. 3, I guess. And Chelsea Manning is the person who gave him the information that he published. And it was illegal for Chelsea Manning to give that information, of which was showing illegal activity by the government. You see how we create laws to help criminals break laws. And for those who point out that those laws were broken by a government, have laws created against them to ruin them. So this is why we call the U.S. an empire. Am I good to move on, Christy? Okay. Next. This one may be a little quicker, may not be. It has a lot of backstory in it.
Who's this back you speak of? Tell me his story.
We have Snowden vindicated. All right, so this was a pretty awesome story. I want to find the right one here. Okay, here we go. This was about a week ago when this came out, and I wanted to cover it sooner. I'm just going to read straight from the Hill real quick. A federal appeals court ruled Wednesday that the National Security Agency, the NSA, surveillance program that collected data on Americans' telephone calls was illegal and possibly unconstitutional. No big surprise. A 3-judge panel on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the program, which was revealed by whistleblower Edward Snowden and officially ended in 2019, violated U.S. surveillance laws and potentially the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution.
Agree.
Just there.
Part of our Constitution.
Yeah.
So, all you constitutionalists.
Yeah. There is more to this, but I want to stop here, and I want to point out what Edward Snowden posted on Twitter. He said, 7 years ago, as the news declared I was being charged as a criminal for speaking the truth, I never imagined that I would live to see our courts condemn the NSA's activities as unlawful, and in the same ruling, credit me for exposing them. Yet that day has arrived. Very, very cool. So let me tell you why this is so cool, and it's so crazy that all of these stories really mesh together really well. Because the NSA, there's another story I don't have up right now, but I was reading before I went on. The NSA is largely responsible for the leaks in our security for 9/11. Largely, majoritively responsible because of how they hide information. And they use the same legislation that was passed. I can't remember when. Actually, I can just look it up. Let me do that. Snowden the Hill. Give me a second, guys. Weeks. And
Do not give it to him, guys. Don't give him a minute. He'll take more.
Nope, it's only been 30 seconds. Leave me be. Okay. And I checked this out. Unfortunately, NSA still has a critical legal tool to hide their criminal or unconstitutional acts.
Yeah, they've never stopped.
Right. The six-decade-old National Security Agency Act of 1959.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's too valuable of a tool, and only a government that had that wanted to control or didn't trust and like their people, or didn't understand that they worked for the people, would think that it's too valuable.
Let me read section 2 of this law.
Okay.
The Secretary of Defense, or his designee, is authorized to establish such positions and to appoint thereto without regard to the civil service laws, such officers and employees in the NSA as may be necessary to carry out the functions of such agency. The rates of basic pay for such positions shall be fixed by the Secretary of Defense in relation to the rates of basic pay provided for the subpart, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I don't need the pay. I thought it was going to be something different. I will do this because this is the actual law. I'm going to close it as I send it to you in the live chat so you can go through the law itself. And I will also give you the link of where I pulled it up from, which I just accidentally closed. So give me a second and I'll pull it back up.
It's Murphy's Law, and it's a biatch.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. So enacted in at the height of the Cold War, the NSA Act gives the agency radically sweeping powers to withhold any information from public disclosure. Specifically, Section 6 of the Act states, nothing in this Act nor any other law shall be construed to require the disclosure of the organization or any function of the NSA or any information with respect to the activities thereof, or of the names, titles, salaries, or number of employees employed by such agency. That which means fuck your other laws, because security, we can do whatever we deem as necessary. It's exactly what it means. And even if you want to say, okay, you're saying that in a way that it makes it sound bad, that is effectively what it does. Effectively what it does. So that
ask one of the people that the security that they were involved in that and got hurt. They'll tell you that the security was there not to take care of the people. Not at all. They were there for that corporation and for whoever paid them. Same with private military. I think that is the most terrifying idea, and yet I hear more and more people say they want, on talking head channels, of course, a private military. Are you fucking kidding me? No. A team of mercenaries running around screaming America.
America. All right. So another thing that I want to point out with this, a little more backstory, and in case you didn't know this, because this is really important to know if you care about the Snowden story at all. All right. Clearly, what he pointed out was, if not illegal acts by the NSA, they are certainly immoral acts, and the public was furious about it. They even made a movie about it. And people sympathized with Snowden, not the government. All right. So this is pretty clean cut and dry. This is a very fervent invasion of private life in general. So if that's the case,
he's a true hero. I mean, he really is.
Yeah, he gave up his
job and he saw something that he just couldn't accept as would be happening and said, well, I can't let it be, but I might die, but I still have to do the right thing because it's the right fucking thing to do. Yeah, that's
he almost
terrifying.
didn't make it.
Oh, I know.
Make it to
the story coming from Greenwald.
Yeah.
The journal. Oh my gosh, so intense. Snowden's more modest telling it. Yeah. They tell it like we didn't know if they were gonna bust down the door. We didn't know if we were gonna make it out that night. You know, they're terrified. He would
what country
put covers over him. They went to China and they did it there, but they know China. Any hotel room for guests is you're going to listen to you because they can do whatever they want, because that's where America wants to go. They want to just be able to, have complete control. However, when they're in this hotel, they stuck stocks and stuff around the doors just so nobody could listen. And Snowden would never log into anything without being under a blanket. That's like a movie, but it is a movie actually, but it is real. And the villain is really sad. I don't want the government of USA to be the villain.
So what I wanted to add to this and why I was, or what I was leading up to is clearly wrong, right? So why doesn't Snowden come back and fight the system? And just go through the court proceedings and potentially win, because he has public
I support right? I support him, yes.
Yeah. Almost everyone does, like from the left and the right, they support him
because he did the right thing for the right reason. Yeah.
There's two things. That really keep him from coming here and having a trial. One, when he talks to lawyers from the prosecuting side, he requests, I believe he requests like a fair trial, and also it be like made public.
Yes,
And
he
that
wants
he won't.
it to be legit, and he
Yes,
wants to be able to speak.
yes,
And you cannot if you're charged with espionage at all.
right. You can't speak.
What?
And yeah, and also I think he also asked specifically to not be tortured.
Yes.
And they said specifically, we can talk about your trial.
I know.
Which is nuts because
he will be tortured. I'm
yeah,
positive of it.
and that's against international law. He's not allowed to be tortured, right? So this is just another layer of criminality for the U.S. If the international criminal courts were involved, like the U.S.
wish
super
they
fucked
would
in this case alone.
actually be brave enough to come and do what they do everywhere else.
Yeah.
Here.
So so number two, because that was number one. Those two things together was number one. Number two is you can get a lot of leeway in a case like this by coming with the defense of, I did this for the public good. I did this as a public service because the people have the right to know. He is barred from saying that in the courtroom.
Yes.
He is not allowed to say,
he has
I did
no
this
right.
as a public service because the people have a right to know.
Yeah.
Nope. He's not allowed to use that defense.
Nope.
So what do you do?
That's a fascist law. You can't defend yourself. You're not allowed to say why you did it, and because the why would definitely be justified.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's not allowed because it's espionage. You're not allowed to speak. And so he can't defend himself. He has to endure torture, and he has to be found as guilty and just to deal with the charges. I don't see an upside. I don't see an upside.
Nope, it's terrifying.
Even with this, like, 7 years, I don't think he's clear to come home yet.
No,
no. So
he hasn't been guaranteed anything.
No, not at all. So this is another reason why I said that, like, I'm gonna have to follow up on everything here, because nothing's been decided for Julian Assange or Edward Snowden.
And both of them will change precedents in major ways. Both of them already have, actually, in many ways. And I like to think about what movies are going to be made and stories are going to be written about these two American heroes in their own way 100 years from now. And people are all going to revere them and not understand, just it's terrifying that he ended up there. And so of course now they can say, oh, but he's there, so who knows, he's probably working for them. It's just...
So let me reiterate one more thing here. Chelsea Manning and Edward Snowden leaked information that showed that our U.S. government, which we fund with our tax money, commits a plethora of different crimes, usually against humanity, all around the world. They shared that information, which is illegal, and I get that, and it's stupid, but that part's illegal currently.
Unless it was about another country, then we'd be like, wait, what's in that? Let us see that.
Right. So Glenn Greenwald and Julian Assange are the publishers of this information. That is not illegal to publish the information when it is given to you. If they go through with prosecuting Julian Assange here. And they passed laws to make what he did illegal, to make his publishing illegal.
Terrifying.
That would effectively make down the line what Christy and I are doing, reporting on what they did and what they reported, a felony.
Right. It would be completely state-controlled media.
Yes. That is terrifying. All the way down to Christy and I.
Yeah. No, we would not be able to say, be critical of the government or anything like that. That's where that would go.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's exactly where it would go. That's why it is so important.
Yeah.
It is so important.
The fifth estate.
And it would bleed into Facebook posts. It would absolutely bleed into you sharing a post on Facebook about something that they
that happens in other countries.
Yeah, it does.
They go to prison because they liked a video.
Publishing, because what do you do to a Facebook post? You what it? You publish it.
More freedom and more democracy, not less.
Yeah. So it will work its way down the line. I was thinking over this past weekend, this Assange story, though some people say it's the most important story like in the century. If not, it's the most important story of the year. And this is an election year, right? If what happens to Julian Assange is arguably more important than what happens on November 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Day after
it also will have a huge effect on how truth is even cared about. Like, do you want to have your news told to you, or do you want to know what happened? And it would just be easier to have it told.
Do you want sources or a source?
Right.
That's the difference. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's really scary. All of that is. We're, like I said, we're right in the middle of a lot of history that is going to be looked at. Like, this is when these changes happened. The marches and the demonstrations, and it's just, that gives me hope. But I don't know, just the fact that Snowden and poor Julian is facing the death penalty in a country he's never been to, an empire that he's never been to, that he was just fighting for the people to say, hey, look what the empire is actually doing. They say they're spreading freedom and liberty, but it's actually they're selling their weapons to governments that are completely wiping away people and other things similarly as wonderful. And I agree with that. I agree with speaking truth to power. And ask yourself, could you endure everything that either Snowden or Julian have gone through? And they knew, I mean, Snowden says it all the time, I knew that I would probably have to be on the run, or I would be in prison, or I'd be dead. Like, I had to do this just right. I had to find the right journalist. I had to find someone who would make sure that we went through everything. It's important. And
it's dangerous to do what they do. And
yes,
and
it is. Yes, it is.
It shouldn't be
no, I think searching for answers, whether it's through investigating a homicide or history, is so important. It just really is. And if that is made illegal, like, are we getting dumber? Like, that's not. No, it's becoming more authoritarian. They're terrified. They don't want us to be like asking questions. And after I say that, you should ask questions, and then you should read The Power Worshippers, Oh, yes. Inside the Dangerous Rise of Religious Nationalism in America. So,
Have you finished that
sources,
book yet?
not yet, but I can send it to you and you can read it when I'm done. Yeah.
That's good.
Or
No,
books.
just record it and I'll listen to it like an
Oh
audio
yeah,
book.
this is Stacy says.
That's,
You can just read me books.
that's what you need to start doing for us. There's just we should make that like a Patreon.
Yeah,
Dealio.
well, your son would love if I read to him again. That was his favorite. He fell in love with me at that moment when I read One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish to him. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so before he left, he said, well, will you read that book to me again? But when I get home, like when I get home, you read it to me on the camera. He's like, oh, I just love you. That book is so fun, and I don't know, I enjoy reading it, so he thought it was wonderful. But this one I can't do funny noises with because it's really it puts like everything we know that's going on in black and white, and like, and this is how we know, and this is who's doing it and how they're doing it. So yeah, I just wanted to, if you are a skeptical person and you see the rise of authoritarian nationalism, or just a rise of hate, Christian nationalism is pretty scary though. This is really, really good research is what I want to say is she took her time. Yeah, give it a go. It really isn't super long either. She has this back here is just like 32, 33, 34. These are her notes. Like everything's in here. Her, I know, I like that. She did her due diligence. She doesn't have to ever be asked like, well, can I get some source material with your book? Because it's in there. Yes. The world we're living in right now is changing, and change is scary.
Yeah, pretty much. I like change sometimes.
I don't like anything that's different from me, okay?
Okay. I
love different.
am
Sorry, guys.
done for the night. I can't do anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It was draining. Thank you everyone for joining us on September 11th, 2020. Thank you, Nacha, for being behind the scenes and doing what you do. We love you, buddy.
Couldn't do it without him. Huh? Couldn't do it without him.
We couldn't do it without him.
No, we
Christy
wouldn't look
too
cool.
incompetent to do this part on our own.
Oh, it would be like the comedy hour of look at these two analog kids in a digital world.
Honestly, if you want to see that, find the first episode.
Oh, God. Oh,
all right. I love you guys.
Bad. Yeah,
Thank
we love
you
you.
very much.
Very, very much. Happy Labor Day. Stay safe.
Yes. And
yeah.
Stay humanist.
And stay humanist. For
godless.
godless sake.
That was John.